You're not there.
I wasn't there.
Okay, now you're there.
I hope everybody's doing good tonight. First off, I didn't have my glasses on. I couldn't see anything close to my head.
I don't know how you see anything near your head anyway.
You're so funny.
So big.
I hope everybody's doing good tonight, healthy, COVID-free. It just seems like
and wise.
I have a good friend. I just want y'all, the ones of y'all that are prayer warriors, to pray for my friend Dennis. He's got COVID. He had pneumonia and he got COVID, and he's not doing very well. He's in the hospital now, and they got him on may have to put him on a respirator. That's anyway, he needs prayer. He is another brother by another mother also, and spent a lot of years with him, running around with him, getting in trouble and having a good time. I remember, short story first, I remember we were in class. We were picking at each other, just picking at us, just slapping around each other. And the teacher said, "Y'all want to finish that in the principal's office?" And I made the smart remark and said, "There's not enough room." And me and Dennis both were in the principal's office after that. But it was just all in fun. He laughed. The principal actually laughed about it when we got up there. Hope everybody's good tonight. Little housekeeping beforehand. I got an email from the mother of the girl that's missing from Canada. If you remember, I think it was Canada. Bailey was her last name, Bailey, or Baili or something like that. The one that met the person on Snapchat, they think, or some type of thing. And remember, we had the dad on, and the dad, it was a good interview, I thought. Well, I got an email from the mother, and the mother said that's not her daddy. And he has no legal, he is not the legal father and has no legal right to speak on her behalf. And so, unfortunately, I have no way of knowing when I talk to people if they're real, telling me the truth or not, and I'm not 48 hours, so I don't have all their funding and their investigators to get out of here and do that. So I told her basically in an email that I was sorry and that I was not maliciously done on our part. However, if she wanted to come on, that I would welcome her to come on, tell the real story of what happened to her daughter, and make an appeal that she said to, on her daughter's behalf. She said that the guy didn't have legal right to say anything, and that she has since in a cease and desist order from her attorney to him to say, please don't speak on the behalf of my daughter. So I don't know. She has not asked me to take the video down or anything. If she did, I probably would ask for a copy of the cease and desist order or something, because right now I just got her word, his word. Either way, I believe it was a good interview to put the word out to try to find the daughter. So if she wants to come on, I'd welcome her to come on, and we'd go from there. It's just something. Other than that, tonight I do want to discuss with you, and we talked about it before, about no body, no crime. And there's a case that I want to discuss tonight with you. It just really floored me for one reason is, first off, it's New York City, one of the greatest police departments, I believe, in the United States. And they have all the resources you would want to use. They have all these divisions, all this manpower, 44,000 officers, I think, the last count, maybe more than that now. And what happened with this case is, why in the world, I don't know. Maybe money was involved. Maybe the guy has the family of the guy. I don't know what it is. It's back in 10/24 of 1998. This lady was, or a young woman at the time, she was going to school. and she would be 28 at the time. She's actually going to college, and one of her professors and her had an alleged affair, and she got pregnant. And at first, he was really wanting her to get an abortion and really pressuring her to get an abortion, but she refused. She refused to get an abortion. And so all of a sudden, he changes his mind. Now, he's married. He's married. That's start off with. Maybe I didn't put that out too with you, but he is married. He's a married guy. So he says, okay, fine. He picks her up. They're going out to look at apartments and all this kind of thing. And he's saying now, oh, I want to be with you. And anyway, she goes missing. During this period of time, he was the last one to see her and everything. Now he is a dentist in Tampa, Florida, supposedly. Last seen leaving her home at the 200 block of Westminster Avenue, New York, in Brooklyn on October the 24th of 1998 at 12:30 p.m. Her roommate said that this guy, and they say his name, so I'm gonna butcher the name probably because it's an Indian name. Kupka's. It's Kupka. That's his name. And they said that with her boyfriend. The whole name, and they put it out there, so I'm gonna do it too, but I'm gonna have to spell it because I do not know how to pronounce this. My Southern will not let me pronounce it.
You can't translate?
Darshana, his first name Darsanand. Rudy, nickname, last name Persaud, arrived at their house shortly beforehand. Seemed nervous, according to his roommate. According to her roommate, a photo of him is posted within the case summary. They say, "Well, I don't know if I got the not. I'll try to find it. I think I did." She was 5 months pregnant with his child at the time of disappearance. She left a message on her sister's answering machine before she left with him, saying that she was going to view a new apartment in Queens and would return home shortly. The girl has never been heard from again. Now, you think about that. She left with this guy, the last person to see her alive, the father of her child that is married, and she disappears, and this guy's never been charged. Now, if you look at this case, and then you look at the Suzanne Morphew case, you're going to think, what the heck? Maybe they can't charge, if they don't have a body. But I don't understand that. To me, it looks like that, and I'm going to pull up here in a minute here. It looks like that they have enough. I hope they said he never would come to the police station for an interview without his lawyer being with him, which is probably a good thing for him. But this is her right here, and for whatever the description is, just
she looks familiar.
She looks like Dr. B.
She does.
She looks like our one of our doctors. It's scary how much she
her hair
does.
was blonde, it would be.
28 years old at the time of disappearance, 5'8", 140 pounds, thin build, light complexion, blue eyes, red hair, 5 months pregnant. Last seen living in the house with this guy. Now, since then, they have dug up a bunch of areas, houses where this guy used to live. They run all kind of cadaver dogs, everything. Got a little alert under a house and dug this whole area up and didn't find anything. So we know that cadaver dogs are not 100%. They're not. This is on the project on the Charlie Project, and I've again said that if you don't know what the Charlie Project is, please go and look it up. It is very well got vast amounts of knowledge in the Charlie Project. The bottom of those pictures, center, that's a guy that at the time that was her boyfriend, the father of the baby. And there is that, and what I've said before, if they could establish that there's more likely than not that there has been a murder by either blood evidence or something else, you can prosecute. Now, this is the other, let's see, no, that's something else. Let me go back. I thought I copied the second page of this. No, hold on. I apologize for that. Let me see. I don't guess I did. I thought I did. Screenshotted it. I may not have. But let me see if I did here. Oh, okay, I didn't. Here it is. Turns out that this guy was married, like I said, and only reported his marital status after she learned she was pregnant. And he was not married at the time of the infant was conceived. That's what the report is saying. So obviously he got her pregnant, was having an affair with her, and then got married. Real nice guy. He initially denied that he was the baby's father, claiming that he had partial vasectomy, but eventually backed down on that from that assertion. So, he's just a real good guy. But, so this is one of these cases that'll make you think, well, can they really charge somebody without a body? Can they do it? And you think about this. A lot of these cases, just like the girl down in Florida we covered, that Keeslyn girl, I apologize, I can't remember her name right now, but where they had the picture of the guy parking the car and he walked away, and just happened the picture was taken just at the time, Kelsey Keys, I think it was, where he was blocked by that post. Just think if they would have found who that guy was that had her car and everything, would that be enough for them to charge him with her disappearance? I think that it probably would have been enough to charge him with kidnapping or something like that. But the murder end of it is this. Jennifer, yes, I'm sorry. I wanted to say it was something else. Jennifer. If the evidence you have is enough for them to say in a very strong probability that the person is deceased, a very strong possibility, like we talked about, the amount of blood found was something that the coroner says, this amount of blood, whoever was stabbed cannot be losing this amount of blood. Can't do it. All right. Well, that unfortunately, there is no other information about this other than the fact this guy's living in South Florida now, in Tampa, as a dentist, and will not talk to anybody about it. Refuses to talk to police now, refuses to talk to reporters, refuses to talk to anybody. And unfortunately, until they find a body or get some other evidence. But, to me, and of course, from day one, he said, I won't talk without my attorney present. And then when they get to their attorney, he's not going to let him talk. So, but to me, they have a lot of evidence. He was the last person saw her alive. I don't even know what kind of excuse he gave. It doesn't even go into that. And this is 22 years ago, almost 23. So unless he gets this, decides to do a confession, some way or another, feels guilty or whatever.
Y'all are having way too much with the vasectomy.
Partial vasectomy.
How do you do a partial?
That's what they said. Partial vasectomy. Let's see. This girl too is is that Keeslyn
Keeslyn
Roberts?
Roberts.
Keeslyn Roberts has been missing since January the 18th of 2020. 20-year-old woman, last seen at the Flying J truck stop in Georgia. I can't read that. Risca, Georgia.
Yeah.
She arrived at the Flying J. She told people at the truck stop that she was there to see someone. Employees at the Flying J ended up calling 911 after she reportedly entered an employee-only kitchen area and got into an altercation. So she may have been high on something. She fled the scene before the police arrived. However, her cash, debit card, identification, phone charger was left behind. At the time, it is unclear on how she left the truck stop, as her vehicle was left behind as well. Probation violation warrant was issued for her the day she vanished, and it is possible that she fled the Flying J on that day of her disappearance to avoid being apprehended by police. Yeah. Some theorize that she left the Flying J with a trucker. I would think that was a probably good guess, since that's what is mostly there. Not saying everybody. They do have usually a like convenience store up front, and a lot of RVs and other things go there all the time. In March 2020, investigators searched Flying J, and during the search, they found clothing that is believed to belong to her in a dumpster behind the building. An anonymous witness told reporters that the clothes have been since disappeared. The investigation did not obtain what they concluded. I don't know what that whole thing is about. She sounds like she's a runaway to me. Probably again might have met somebody online. That is the problem. And I didn't see in this thing on how old she was. 20. Okay, 20. Well, you know what they say.
What do they say?
You can disappear in America, and it's not against the law to disappear. And sure, your parents and your family is going to be upset, but it's not against the law to disappear.
We watched a show recently about that. The girl was found, but she does not want to.
Yeah, no, we told it on here about this. $6,000 reward is in place for anybody with information leading to her whereabouts, and that tells about the Gordon County Sheriff's Department, and that was about it. We do want to remember, and this is the girl that the mother called in about, that said the daddy was not the daddy. The one that we interviewed was not the father of her. And I'm really trying to get her mother back online here so we can find out what in the world happened and how in the heck did he, I don't remember now how I got a hold of the guy. I think he was referred to me by another person. So that sounds like a mixed up deal to me. But let's talk about, can you prosecute somebody without a body? What are some of the experts saying? I've got some copies of some stuff here that, first off, on Wikipedia here, they talk about convictions for murder absent of a body. It says, however, the case type historically have been hard to prove. Yes, we've talked about that, often forcing prosecutors to rely on circumstantial evidence. And then it goes back, for centuries, the absence of a body could not be tried for murder back in centuries in England and stuff. And I went to law school. I'm not an attorney, and I did not take the bar, and I did not.
You don't play one on
I don't play
Mondays.
one on TV either. But it's you when you go to law school, you common law is what you study, and then you study the state's law. But common law is all England's law. What?
Carrie Culberson in Ohio in 1996 was never found, and Vincent Doan is in prison for her murder.
Oh yeah, I mean you can do it. You can actually prosecute somebody. It's not easy. And that's what we see in this particular case. I mean, even with him being the last one to see her alive and the last one seen with her, and they still can't arrest him.
That was from Avalon. I want to make sure we give credit to where it's due.
Now, this is from the Criminal Justice Law, Intellectual Property Law, Seattle University School of Law. This is in, I guess he was in a thing from 2016. Somebody asked the question in this forum, can you be prosecuted, or will you, can a guy get away with it if they can't find the body? And I thought that was weird if somebody even asked that question, but it was asked. Absolutely not. Circumstantial evidence can be sufficient to prove that a murder took place and that the person was killed. It's extremely difficult to prove a murder beyond a reasonable doubt without a body, but I've done it. Well, this guy obviously was a prosecutor. The senior prosecutors that I worked with in an internship were at the time in a trial for a non-body murder case, and several months of diligent work, but they were able to secure a conviction based on circumstantial evidence, which was significant. And this is like what I'm saying. And he says, such cases often wind up tied up on appeals for years, if not decades, as decisions made by the trial court are picked apart. And, this is what I'm saying. If you go out there at the scene and you find a huge amount of blood, or you find another thing, you find I can't talk tonight. You find brain matter. Say you find a lot of blood and DNA matches the brain matter you find. Well, that's a pretty good indication that somebody did not survive this attack. You find a lot of brain matter there. Or you find something else that would lead you to say, hey, there was a dead body here, or someone died here. Large amount of blood, parts, innards or body, innards, and I don't want to be gross, but I mean, that's country, innards. But yeah,
not innards.
Things that were normally should be inside the body, but are out, like on the floor or in the corner or on the walls. But if you got brain matter across the floor, I'm going to tell you a little short story. I don't want to gross somebody out, but we came up on a guy, and I think I've told this before, but I'll tell it because this has direct contact with this. We've got a call early morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. The sun's just come up, and a guy's sitting on like a piece of wood outside of on a piece of wood outside a location. And we talked, and he said, man, I got this headache. All I want to do is go home. Well, I look at his head, and one of his eyes is facing directly down. So you think, what's up with this guy? So we call him paramedics, just checking him out. We're telling him, no, you need to sit down here, man. Just hang out a minute. I want to let the paramedics. I'll be okay. Well, his whole side of his head was basically just blown out, and brain matter was like right there on the sand. We were at a beach area, right there on the sand. I mean, it wasn't a huge amount, but it was enough that somebody that had seen it before, like I had, knew exactly what it was. And he had taken a gun and shot himself right there. And when he did, his eye went down like that, and his brain matter went out the other side, and he didn't kill him. So, I mean, you can live that way. You can live that way, but it is not that was only one case I've ever worked like that. where somebody tried to kill themselves and did that much damage to themselves, but did not die. So, it has to be significant, This is two thing here. One's a professor in criminal justice, and it says not under English law. The case, the leading case is R versus, and don't ask me to pronounce that. The case against that person was entirely circumstantial, and the body of the victim, fellow Polish war veteran and business partner, and these are crazy names, was never found. There was a lot of circumstantial evidence, however, although sentenced to death in 1954, and also although the conviction was confidentially no, it's not confidential. What is that?
Conviction was confidently upheld.
Confidently. I can't read or I can't even my classes.
Now, pronounce that next name.
Yeah. Upheld. I'm not going to. Was not hanged. Did someone somewhere in the Home Office have lingering doubts? He was released in 1965 and apparently went back to his old haunts to ask if anyone had seen his old friend so-and-so. While he was in prison. And then this guy who works for the U.S. Army says, no, although it's hard to prove someone died otherwise. There once was a case where a guy disappeared. They hung one of his employees for murder. The murder victim years later shows up very alive as he was just traveling overseas and no one knew. I think this is in England or somewhere. Oops. Well, I understand that, and like I said, the evidence has to prove that somebody died. That's the big thing. And it has to prove, they have to prove some type of guilt for that person also.
They're saying some of them can't see you.
You can't see me?
It says, can you fix the pics, please? They can't see you. If you can't see him, you might want to log out and log back in. Try that.
I don't understand. Does anybody see me?
Yeah, some people are. They're telling her, I see. There's no problem. Katie, log out and log back in.
Yeah, I don't know what I can do.
Everybody
on this
else,
side.
no, everybody says they're fine.
I don't know.
Rebecca had to go out and come back in.
Okay.
Okay. Thank y'all. They say they can see.
They can see.
I can see.
Okay, this one it says here, J.D. Law at the Catholic University of America. Nope, it would be a piece of evidence, and others not even a particularly important one. It might be helpful if you had the killer's DNA on it or revealed something about who the killer was, not needed for a conviction. Otherwise, you could destroy the body. Difficult, but it can be done and never get convicted. And then a guy, a history buff, said, no, you don't. Apparently somebody asked if the question was, do you have, can you get evicted? You can't get evicted if you don't have a body. There's an old English common law that hasn't been in effect since 1954. The body is certainly a very helpful bit of evidence to have, but several people have been convicted of murder absent the corpse of the victim, like these two fellows here. And he tells about the case. And it's like the corpus delicti, I think is the Latin term.
Yeah. Nellie, I think, is telling you a question that Manuela asked. Do you feel the circumstantial evidence is abundant in the Suzanne Morphew case? Do you know how abundant is defined?
I don't. Yeah, I know how abundant is defined, but I don't think, and it's like me and Tony talked about the other day, personally, I don't think they have enough evidence that I know of for conviction. Now, Do they have enough circumstantial evidence to get it before a grand jury? But yes, but here's the deal. We don't know what the police have. The police had been in the home twice. The police had secured the home over a period of time. Let's just say, because we don't know, let's say the police were in on a search warrant and they found a large amount of blood that would show them that someone had been killed in the house. Okay? So they run a DNA test. Of course, they've got to get DNA from a male family member to find out if it is truly Suzanne. I mean, they can tell the blood type's the same. They can do all that stuff. But in order to do the DNA, she has either had to give her DNA in the past or has to go to a male blood relative to get enough DNA match to find her if that's her true DNA. So say they've gathered all this evidence from the house. They've got a murder weapon, maybe something in the house with blood or brain matter on it. Maybe they have evidence enough or maybe they even have a witness. We don't know first off, we don't know what all they have because they've sealed the search warrants, 2 of them. Okay? Now, they may have already approached the DA's office, and because the DA is a lame duck DA, she is going out and a new one's coming in. They may feel like it's not in other words, they have a term of this, it's called forum shopping, and that it's not really something you're supposed to do, but basically they're doing it in a roundabout way that could be in this case where the current DA, the police and the FBI and all that, the current DA may not be on board with putting it before grand jury yet until they find a body. In other words, the current DA might say, you have all this evidence and it looks like somebody was murdered here, but we don't have a body. So I'm not willing to take it before the grand jury yet, because if we try to indict him and he doesn't get indicted, it's going to be doubly hard to indict him later on. So let's, and see, double jeopardy does not apply in a grand jury situation. They could actually take you before the grand jury 150 times until they get an indictment if they wanted to. It doesn't apply to the grand jury. It only applies to trial. So this DA may not be in the law enforcement's corner on this case. So what they do, they hang out and say, okay, we've got all we can do right now is we'll hunt for the evidence. We'll hunt for the body. We'll hunt for these other people that are involved in this. We'll hold this evidence here tight to the chest. And then when they have the new DA gets in here, then we're going to hit them with all this stuff. And we feel like she will be more on board to put a grand jury together. This is it. To me, that is exactly what I think is happening. Now, could I be wrong? Absolutely. I don't know what the police have. If I was working the investigation and I had all this evidence, I wouldn't tell us either. Because if we put stuff out, if the police put stuff out here, it'll be all over these YouTube channels, examined and poked at and defined and questioned, and witnesses could be talked to. And here's the thing. You have to put a jury together in that county. Do you want the jury to have all this information ahead of time? No, you want the jury to be fresh. You want the open mind about all this stuff. So, a lot of people are coming up saying, oh, the sheriff, he's in with Barry and, he's a volunteer fireman and they're just covering up. Listen, I don't believe that, not one bit. Go ahead.
Julie said, Mr. Thomas, why is Sheriff Svezy keep changing his story? Last seen on a bike, then buried, now back to bike. I'm sorry, this is off topic. I don't think
no,
off topic.
And I'm going to tell you something.
You're not off topic.
He's not off topic. This is the only official story out there, okay? He may get in his office and tell his investigators, we don't believe any of that stuff. but we're not going to change the theory because he doesn't want to muddy the water. He wants to have the jury pool be fresh. What if all of you are on the jury here and I'm the prosecutor and all you've heard the whole time is she went for this bike ride? And my first statement to the jury is this: for months, we have been told that she went on a bike ride. But I'm going to tell you that never occurred. Let me tell you what really happened. Your ears are going to go, bing, perk up. You're going to think, well, I'm all ears, man. I'm wanting to find out what really happened on this. And then he's going to say, we're going to tell you step by step how this bike ride never occurred and why we think this bike ride was a farce and here's what blah, 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 blah. In other words, if he tells you now, if he comes up right now and says, we don't believe the bike ride really happened and we're pursuing other avenues, then, it just muddies the water for any jury pool. Don't expect the police to come out and be forthcoming about what they know about this case. If they haven't done it so far, they're not going to do it now. Just because he came out like the other day, I understand now that they're working off the theory about the bike. That makes no difference to me because I've seen it from the inside, and I can tell you that's very easy for him to say. He's just leaving it out there, and then the investigation's coming up from the inside. But I'm going to tell you this. I'm very impressed that somebody has not leaked the investigation out of that PD. I'm very impressed because usually none of these police departments can keep a secret. They can't. And I just am very impressed that they can, because if just about every investigation, from the big cases like Zodiac Killer to Son of Sam to all that stuff, a bunch of that stuff got leaked. If you read anything about the Son of Sam, it got leaked like crazy. That investigation did, about the dog supposedly being the one that told him about it to do the killings. Just a bunch of stuff. What are you doing?
Okay, Katie has a question, and I'm trying to find it. Katie, can you post your question again in all caps? And I'll try to. I went back up. I can't find it. Julie says it is awkward that Barry's renting a $799 a night house. Is it awkward? $799 a night house on Puma. Wow.
And how do we know that? I've heard tons of stuff that I can't repeat, and Katie, you said, can somebody please explain my comment, please?
Okay, here it is. If they can get the person without a body, then why can't they go pick up Barry? Just asking.
Well,
thank you.
Right now, I don't know what the police have, but if we just look right now, what we know, they don't have enough. Yeah, they don't have enough. They have a lot of circumstantial evidence that something may have happened. But right now, they don't have enough. And
you don't want double jeopardy, right?
Well, you don't want to
say it.
You don't want to arrest somebody and put him before the trial, and the defense is going to say, Judge, we demand a speedy trial under the 6th Amendment and the 8th Amendment, or we demand a speedy trial, and then they don't have enough, and he gets, like I said, he gets found not guilty, and then you can't charge him again. They could stand up there and say, hey, I did it. You're never going to find their body. Leave me alone. They might sue him, and they might get him, get a lot of money from him, but they wouldn't be able to put him in jail again. They don't have enough to arrest him on what I know. Now, if they have a lot in their pocket, I think they're waiting on the new DA. That's it. But in my opinion, just on what we know, they don't have enough. I mean, if I was his attorney, if I was representing him, what I would tell him would, what my argument would be if he was arrested right now is, well, she left on her own. She got abducted. Why do you think he's guilty? I mean, really, tell me right now, somebody tell me why you think he's guilty right now. What do you think is enough right now to have him arrested? Oh, he shows up in Denver smelling of chlorine. Well, if I wanted to argue that, chlorine in landscaping is used to clean rocks. If you're building a wall like he was doing, he could say, well, I was going to use that to clean rocks. Now, it doesn't make any difference. I mean, he's smelling like it. That is suspicious, at the very least. But he could throw some excuses out there. Where they did the cadaver dogs, they didn't find anything. Where they he said he left at 5:30 in the morning, but then what I'm saying, I don't see enough obvious stuff to put him in jail. His GPS. Okay, so what? His GPS didn't match where he and lying to the police. Okay, arrest him for lying to the police. But first off, you can lie to the city police in my state, and there's nothing you do about it. If they lie to the FBI, then he goes to jail 5 years. Okay, you put him in jail for lying, but you don't have just because he doesn't tell the truth and his GPS doesn't match, it's not enough to arrest somebody for murder. It's not.
Think about if it was you.
He could very easily say, well, I had a girlfriend and I was visiting her that morning, and that's why the GPS doesn't do it. And no, I'm not going to tell you who my girlfriend is. I mean, it's just you need something more than just what we see to arrest somebody for that. If it was you out there and say, let's just make an assumption here. Let's just make an assumption. And I know I move my hands in and out of pictures sometimes. Let's just make an assumption. Let's just say he's 100% innocent. 100% innocent. Okay? Would you want him to be taken in on the evidence? Could we convict him of the crime on the evidence that we know, me and you know? I don't think we could. I personally think that he would be, in my opinion, my number one suspect, but he would only be a suspect. I would not dare charge him from just what we know. I don't know what law enforcement knows. Just saying what the public know, I don't know what exactly. Roland, I don't know what law enforcement knows. If law enforcement does not have any more than what we know, there's not enough evidence to put him in jail. And I'll tell you that right now. There's not. Everything we have is not, it's not even circumstantial.
Okay, MH says, why can't they name him a person of interest?
Well, there's no advantage for that. There's no advantage for them to come out and say he's a person of interest. None. Because if he becomes a person of interest, one is he gets an attorney. First thing he does is get an attorney. And Cat's Eyes, I do want to tell you thank you. I got a couple people made comments that I stopped in the middle of what I'm talking about to acknowledge people that do donate money, and I do appreciate it, and I'll never stop doing that. So if you don't like that, I'm sorry, but I feel like it's such a privilege for us to receive donations that I have to acknowledge it. But if there's no advantage for the police to come out and name him a person of interest, none. It would be an advantage for all of us. We'd say, "Ha, I've told you, yeah, we're right." But there's no advantage because one, he would get an attorney first thing. I mean, he has not gotten an attorney. But if they name him a suspect, he will get an attorney. I promise you. I would. And two, no matter if he's guilty or not guilty, he's got to get an attorney to represent him at that point. Two is he could go out and destroy evidence. He might get really, really scared now that he knows they are looking at him and go out and destroy evidence. If he hasn't already done that, if he is guilty and hasn't already done that. You know, he might decide to, anything could happen. It's no advantage for them to come out and say you're a suspect or a person of interest. Absolutely none. Yeah, and also, right, Melinda's right. You don't want to look like he is the only one, too.
Then they get that, what do they call that? They get that where they're stuck on that one person and somebody else gets away with it. Yeah,
I mean, didn't you see the things, too, when charges are dropped on somebody because the DNA didn't match or something, and then nobody's ever charged? Just like the
Atlanta bomber.
Feel free to ask us.
The Atlanta bomber.
Yeah, the Atlanta bomber is one thing. I've got a little surprise for us tonight to come in here. Tony's going to come join us back for this discussion a little bit tonight. Tony, I know you. If you can hear me, your camera is not working, buddy. Can you go out and come? If you go out and come back in, Tony, if you can hear me, I see you in my room there, but your camera is not working.
Well, how can you see him if his camera?
I see Tony, and looks like he was last night, but the camera's not working.
Thank you, Angela.
As kids step forward, I do not believe that they went on a camping trip and they know what happened. Well, you got to think about this, okay? Got to think about this. They may, if your parents, one of your parents was accused of doing something like this, would you believe your parents if they told you, honey, I had nothing to do with this? Would you believe that? Yeah, would you? Or would you just listen to us on here? I think you'd believe that, you know it. Tony, I'm still having trouble getting you here. I'm going to add him up here. If you can hear me, Tony, your camera is not working. I know they would really love to see that smiling face tonight. Do you hear me? Don't believe that we have him yet. Oh. Melinda, thank you very much.
Oh my gosh, Melinda, thank you.
Thank you very much, Melinda. Let me remove him and then talk to him a little bit. And Tony, if you are hearing me, could you reboot through the link or something? Because we do not have you, buddy. I don't even have him. I don't have him in the thing. Let's see, add him again. Oops, he's out. He's going to try it again. He went out, and I guess he's going to go back in again. What if the kids came forward blaming their dad and still no body? What happens then? Well, it would depend on. It would still depend on the evidence. You know, what I would love to know, if somebody knew the family and knew the kids, I'd want to know if there was domestic violence in the house. I mean, the kids know that, if they were or not. Were they domestic violence in the house? I mean, they would be, thanks, Katie, I appreciate that. They would be the ones that could tell you. I mean, they would be the ones that could say maybe to a friend, I heard mom and daddy screaming at their all the time, or, dad used to get very angry and dad did this. And, I don't know whether I mean, they could call them to testify. They don't have the spousal immunity like your spouse does, but whether or not they would or not, I don't know. Tony, do you hear me now?
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now? I don't know what the problem is. Tony? You're calling me? If you're calling me, buddy, I don't have it. I don't have my phone right now. Okay, I got your voice at least.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you broke your camera, though. Your camera's not working.
Yeah, for some reason, the program tonight is not allowing me to enter, and I even got my wife's computer because thinking it was my problem, and it will not boot into the system.
Huh.
I don't know why or what's going on. I guess me and you will have to maybe work on it or try to figure out whatever's going on when we're not on a show.
Do you have a picture of Santa Claus? Put that up
I
there.
can put a picture of Santa Claus. Let's see.
Is your camera pic plugged in?
Yes, my camera is part of my computer.
Yeah, you're doing like I am. I don't know. I don't know what's going on either.
Denise said he's on dial-up.
Yeah, no, I think they have where he's at. They have actual thing. Well, what we're talking about, Tony.
Tony's an invisible man.
You can be the invisible man tonight. What we're talking about is
no body,
no crime. I got where I was. No body, no crime. And I was just telling them, you can get a conviction or an arrest because if you don't have a body, and we've talked about that. But now a lot of people are talking about the Suzanne Morphew case. Is do we feel with the evidence that we have right now, could they be an arrest, or why they haven't been arrested? And what I said was, I don't think they have enough right now. What do you think?
Well, I guess I just need to look and actually read a little bit more about it. I'm kind of frustrated that I can't get on here this evening because I have been I'm just going to be straight up. I have literally been trying to link into your show now for 30 minutes. And I've rebooted my computer like 4 times tonight. Went into the settings. I tried to do everything I could do. So I hate that I'm not prepared to look at anything or do anything to be able to give you some good consensus right now.
Well, I think all I basically want is your opinion. Oops, excuse me. Is your opinion. Have you ever had a case where, oh gosh, they didn't have a body? Or do you remember one?
What are you doing, bud?
I had the hiccups.
Oh.
If you had...
do I need to burp you?
I am a mere child.
Have we had a missing person where we didn't have a body? Yes.
We've worked tons of like drownings where we didn't have a body. But excuse me, gosh. I'm trying to think about that case we had in, I think it was in Florida, where the guy was on the boat. In fact, I know it was. They had a boat. And he's like 4 or 5 guys out on the boat. The boat was coming in, and they looked around and the guy was gone. Either they said he fell off the boat. And, but my information.
I do remember one that was similar to what you're talking about, but it happened more than once similar to what you're talking about. But one of them in particular, we looked into the fact that it was a drug deal that had possibly went bad, and this person was taken out on a fishing trip.
That was it. That was it.
Yeah.
And
Angela.
The boat came into a port in Alabama. and
Right.
they couldn't find the guy.
I could scare them out of you. I could go get the taser.
Yeah.
When you have a case like that, you're going to have to go on possibly finding witness testimony. Maybe if he was last seen getting on the boat. But if you know he went out there and everything, of course, you know this, all of the boats that are out in the water, U.S. Customs and various agencies monitor where boats are, and you can kind of possibly track that boat. But you'd have to really get into it to do that type of investigation, as you very well know.
Well, we talked about a case earlier tonight where a lady was dating her married professor and had a baby by him, and he wanted her to have an abortion. She wouldn't. And then all of a sudden he says, oh, well, we're just going to move in together and we're going to have the baby together. And they left to go look at apartments, and she was never seen again. He's a dentist now in Tampa. It's been about 22 years ago. Never found a body. He was the last one that ever was seen with her. You know, that's it. I mean, never charged or anything. So, I was telling them, I said, I didn't understand this happened in New York. One is New York's one of the greatest police departments around. So why didn't they do more investigation to tie him to that crime? Right. They couldn't have a body, but I remember a few cases where, like that guy, that boat thing. I didn't remember which one, if it was drugs or not, but the fact that I do remember somebody said, well, they looked around, he wasn't there anymore. Yeah, falling off a boat in the middle of daggum Gulf of Mexico, like that. I don't get that.
Well, there's been many across the Southeast in particular that, it seems like we've had maybe one or two once a year, but somewhere in the Southeast that there's been something where you had either a spouse to go missing or something like that, and there was somewhat of some interesting telltale to the backstory of what was going on. Again, you would treat that case just like you would treat cases that you actually have tangible evidence. You're still going to do your canvassing of everything, whether it be family members, neighbors, getting any kind of phone data, computer data in particular would be very crucial too. If you have a suspect, you want to look at their computer and see if they've looked up anything on the internet. You and I both know we've actually had some cases. There's been cases that have been solved on just stuff like that alone, where we were able to get data off of someone's computer because they looked up something or whatever. So there is some things like that. So that would be one thing that you would have to look at too for that. So is there abilities to render a suspect in those cases? Absolutely. Is there an ability to get a conviction with a person committing any murder or anything like that without a body? There has been cases which I think you even mentioned that the other night when we were talking. Yes, that is obviously possible. You can still get a conviction without a body if you have compelling testimony and evidence to articulate the means of what took place or the recreation thereof or something like that. So those things are all very important in regards to any case that's a missing person. Again, like I've probably said this multiple times, and probably people are tired of hearing me say it. You have to treat a missing person's case as if it is a homicide before anything. You treat it as a homicide, because that way when you go into that case, you do not, as they say, second guess or miss clues or evidence that could be there just because you went on the complete whim as, oh, they're missing and you're not looking for a foul play scenario. So it's very crucial that any investigator, any law enforcement agency that gets a missing persons case, they do need to treat it as a homicide case, too, and have that mindset in the back of their mind while they're they're investigating the case.
Yeah, and why in the world people go on their computer and look up murder stuff about bodies and murder, how to do this is just insane.
Because they want to get rid of the body.
Yeah, but why go on their own computers? I don't know.
Well, I know it, and it's crazy that we obviously, there's some cases we probably will never be able to necessarily talk about, but there are cases that you and I both could tell about and stories of stuff, not to divulge names or anything like that, but it's just some things that were never actually brought out in court, but we knew that there was evidence that existed in some other things, but that couldn't be brought out in court because, for whatever reason, if the judge ruled or the defense attorney requested certain things be stricken from the record and blah, 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 and so on and so forth. So we as investigators, sometimes our hands, which I've even mentioned this before, sometimes our hands are tied, not because we want to not completely cover the case or go over things in court or whatever. We have people above us, whether it be a district attorney or a judge or whomever that makes a certain ruling or decision. We have to go with what they give us as our rules of the game, so to speak.
Yeah. Now, somebody said, "Is there any proof that we're talking about Suzanne Morphew? Is there any proof that she's actually deceased?" I'm assuming that's who they're talking about. Not that we know of. If a person is missing for over 6 months and nobody knows where she's at, you can assume that she met some foul play. Also, we don't know what the police took out of the house. If they took a rug out there that it was soaked with blood, then they may have a point that they know that she is deceased. Nobody knows, really. I mean, we don't know.
Melinda said, has anyone questioned or thought the possibility that Susan went underground with domestic violence helping her? Domestic violence.
I heard that. I heard somebody bring that up, but here's my problem with that. Her dad had cancer in Indiana. Her dad died without seeing his girl. I don't think, and she was so loved her own girls. I don't think that. I think she might have been ready to leave, was going to leave him, and that's what instigated this. Maybe something that instigated some type of violence within the house. Because
I would think that's where I would tend to say this on that. Let's just say hypothetically that anyone could be pulled into, quote, a witness protection program. If, in fact, they were pulled into a witness protection program, most of the time, even those individuals might be held for a purpose of testimony to another case or something like that. But this particular case, I don't see anything that has come out or come about from that he or any suspect, should I say, he, she, or whatever, had anything to do with anything. She wasn't, I'm not seeing anything like drug activities or something that's kind of out of the ordinary. I mean, I'm not saying that that's not possible. I guess hypothetically anything can be possible, but I do tend to think, no, I wouldn't. I don't really see the narrative here for witness protection. But well, put it this way, and I think you would agree with me on this. There are people that have been taken into witness protection programs before and they just disappeared, but they usually actually staged a death of the individual, and then they thought they were dead, but they were in fact alive, and they moved them and put them somewhere else.
I think what they're talking about more of is she planned to escape herself because of domestic violence. I don't think that, because here's why too. She had this $500,000 or whatever from the sale of a house up there. He went into a guardianship for that, and he has power of attorney over all that money. I can't,
Right.
She's had this money. Why not just go get an attorney that's powerful enough and put a restraining order against him, move somewhere, flee openly rather than I don't think so. Now I know somebody brought up a point about Ann Lane, said something about possibly taken with a lion or something if she didn't have a gun or whatever. There's no evidence in my book she's ever attacked by any type of animal.
Melinda said, just trying to cover all because she was a leader in the domestic violence group in her church.
Yeah, and I think that goes to show you maybe that is what she might not have had any type of true domestic violence like assault type, but we've got evidence, even us, we got evidence that there was verbal assault, verbal abuse, because this lady was already came out, her friend, and said, we were on the phone together talking about taking the girls coming to Florida when he comes in and says, you're not going anywhere. And,
Right.
And she changed her whole tone. So he obviously was a dominating personality, narcissistic type personality where, something could have happened. But I don't believe, and I think Tony would agree with me on just what we know and not knowing what the police know, but just what we know, there's just not enough to take him into custody right now. Possibility threatened or almost killed possibility. Well, he might, that could be. I just don't see any evidence. And with all this money being thrown around here, that it would be in her best interest to do that.
Okay, so Ann had said something about taking a gun on a bike ride. We've rode bikes at 12 o'clock at night. I've never thought about taking a gun with me.
Well, I'll be honest with you. That's not.
You and I used to ride bikes, Tom, and we would carry guns.
Yeah, we had guns with us.
We had actually guns, handcuffs, and other things.
Yeah.
That's because y'all are trying to be bad.
No, and there's nothing wrong with carrying a gun on you. A lot of people.
No, I'm just saying I never thought of it.
But up in that area where there's cats and lions and all that, I just don't think there was any evidence of an attack by an animal. I really, really don't.
No, I didn't see that either. I like though what I saw a Stormy Grace. She said when kids grow up in a DV house, they grow up to take the trait as normal and it's sad. That's absolutely true. Unfortunately, children of today can very well easily be a product of their own environment. So that's one thing that we would all hope that both men and women out there, when they raise their children, they raise them in a godly home, give them good morals and character, and show good things while they're raising their kids. Because it is true, we've seen a lot of children. They have everything from depression to whatever, just because of what they might go home to, and sometimes even the only normalcy that a child might have is going to school, which is sad.
Yeah. Thanks, Sarah. We appreciate that donation too.
Can the feds make Barry come in and take a polygraph?
No.
That was from Katie. Okay.
No, they can't. You can't force somebody to. You can't force somebody to give a statement. You can't force somebody to do a polygraph. You can't force somebody to do anything. That's why I think if they named him a person of interest, the first thing he's going to do is say lawyer. And I'm surprised really that he hasn't done the lawyer thing already. If he had, I know the reason why I know he does not have a lawyer is no lawyer is going to allow him to get on the press and these TV shows and talk to anybody and make any statements like that if he's worth his salt. Because all of this stuff he said in the past in the news media and made statements on phone calls and everything, that'll all be brought out in trial if he ever goes to trial. All that stuff will be brought out. and picked apart and everything. So he had a lawyer. That wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
You know?
I still really don't believe the bike story. That's just my opinion.
No. But a lot of people too on here earlier you came on here were saying, well, why can't they just go out and arrest him? Why can't they do that? But really, I just don't believe they have enough. What?
Does Anthony know about her, the neighbor here and the machine gun about?
Yeah, he was.
Okay.
We talked about that last time.
Sorry.
Yeah. Somebody said another question here. I was reading it here and I can't.
I even got my clock fixed tonight.
Oh, you did
man,
you got your clock fixed? We can't even see it.
My wife was so kind to fix the clock after I told her about what y'all said, that somebody talked about the clock, and then I of course went back and saw that somebody talked about the clock. I guess, and say I even have a haircut tonight, so I mean, I have changed.
I don't believe it. You can't prove it.
Hey, Anthony, when Kaylee, the president's press secretary, was having interviews from her home, she was in her child's nursery, and the clock never changed the time on there. And so all the QAnons were out going conspiracy. There was a reason that clock wasn't changing. So tell us why the clock wasn't changing.
Yeah. My hair's still white. It's just a little shorter. That's all.
Yeah, and you know what I talked about, Sarah said she just got a new lease on life, very suspicious. Yeah, she did survive cancer twice. The only thing is that I think the move from Indiana to Colorado was a very thing, and I'll tell you why I believe that was.
Not gonna start fighting.
I believe that he, you know, this is my opinion. I believe he tried to isolate her. You know, isolate her from her friends, isolate her from her father that was dying of cancer, isolate her from her family, and you move out into a very isolated area, especially if there's any type of domestic violence going on. You want to isolate people away from their friends. That's just my opinion. I don't know. It's just, it does seem kind of funny, weird. Yes, control, like Melinda said. Isolation and control is one way to do things, you know. He said, why though, then kill her? We don't know what, here's one of, I think I got my seat here.
Miss Swift said, dang, Tony, I'm not really what you're for.
Yeah, here's my thing, okay? What my opinion that could have happened is your just hypothesis on my part. They got into an argument over something. Maybe some mention of divorce might have came up. And then when it went from a rage, anger rage, and we know he can be in an anger rage because this guy that he was working with up there in Indiana, they got in a fight. And out there, Barry took his tools, threw them out in the middle of the road, chest bumped him, you know, got into an argument. So we know he's got a temper. So maybe something happened over something, a divorce, argument, whatever. Suzanne got hit in the head, knocked down, knocked out, accidentally killed, or on purpose, or whatever. Then that could have happened. A lot of people I've heard said their opinion was it was all premeditated. I don't know. Like I said, we don't know what happened inside the house, but in my opinion only, something happened around the time of that phone call. You know.
Well, I still feel strong about this. That elderly lady that gave that information about the machinery.
Yeah.
That just really is. It still sticks out in my mind.
Yeah,
he wasn't. You know, the search around the area just seems like that. I don't know that there was a carefreeness attitude about that. So, I mean, he wasn't even willing to make it look good for going out there and actually going to do the search.
Oh yeah. Well, when Andy came down to search, that was another telling point for me. He met Andy out there with a shotgun over his shoulder, putting up game cams to keep people off his property. I don't feel like that. We brought it up after that during one of our talks. We said, "Hey, Andy," or "Hey, Barry, why don't you just let Andy and a couple of his friends help them, go with him over the property?" And soon after that, maybe he was listening, because he did. Is there a reason he is so quiet? Nothing. He has not even admitted a fight or an argument. Well, would you? You know what I mean? Here's the thing. This does not offer any advantage if he does go out and do that. What advantage does he have to say we had a fight or an argument? You remember when they interviewed Chris Watts on his front porch? The police, it was a big turning point for the police for him to be a suspect when he admitted they had an argument before he left.
Right.
So,
Susan asked, to be an effective domestic violence counselor, wouldn't you have had experience yourself in addition to training?
Not necessarily. I mean, that probably would help. Just like a drug counselors are mostly former addicts or somebody that's got the degree. I mean, it would help, and it probably would be a big help, but I don't think it would be 100% required. But y'all tell me, because I've never done that. Never had been a domestic. I don't think I would be good.
There's a lot of DV counselors that I know that weren't or didn't. They didn't ever say that they had a DV relationship for their past. But then again, I've also known some that were. So it's kind of a 50-50.
Yeah.
I think though that real life trials and tribulations, as they say, tend to make you more compassionate and make you more understanding of people's problems when they come to you to address or talk about issues, as well as having a better understanding of the individual that's going through the strife or the problem.
Yeah, it's like a suicide hotline. I think recovering people that have maybe went through that would be good, but I know of other people that are counselors for that have never, been involved in the attempt of suicide. So,
and some experiences could be detrimental, says Manuel.
Yeah, that's probably so.
Yeah, I do like though what Sarah pointed out there about college degree for DV. Experience speaks louder. I do agree in the aspects of this. Sometimes a college degree doesn't necessarily make an individual to be a professional at whatever degree they have. Sometimes having a little bit more oomph of experience, not necessarily saying street experience, but just experience in life, can tend to make you want to, help people more and more on a personable level.
I remember when I was in law school, a criminal law professor started talking about how the police do certain things. And I held up my hand. He said, yes. I said, sir, I'm all due respect, but that's not what you're saying. It's not correct. And he said, oh, really? How's that? He said, you got experience? I said, yes, sir. And I went to tell him, and I said, this is how we did it. Now, if you want to speak in general, maybe other people do that. But I said, I'm going to tell you this, it never happened when I was working. Katie said, it is sad taking your significant other away from the family like that, especially if her dad was sick. Yeah, that is very, very. Colorado, you have to have at least a BA, Bachelor's Arts, or a CAC to be a drug counselor.
Yeah, Manuela, she said a college degree only shows a person has the ability to learn and study new subjects. Absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when someone takes an interest and does a particular job because they want to do the job, then they'll tend to have more of an ability to excel at it simply because they really have an interest in doing it. Anybody can go out here and get a job and just do the
Well,
job because they want the money and not necessarily that they're doing it for the heart, so to speak.
in the police academy too, after you get out of the police academy and you got a rookie riding with you, the first thing you tell him is say, forget all that stuff you learned in the police academy. And it's not really true. You don't forget everything you learned in the police academy, but the police academy teaches you the basics on book smarts, on what the laws are, but you don't learn how to be a cop until you sit down in that patrol car. It just does not happen.
Hey, Sassy Cat said Suzanne did not know her dad had cancer when she disappeared. I thought she did know he'd had it for a while.
I didn't know that either. Sassy Cat, do you know that to be fact? Are you friends with family in some way? You know that to be a fact, or is that something that's been out there?
She said exactly.
Okay. Well, it's been reported on profiling.
Okay.
Well, like I said, I don't know if that is 100% true. I mean, these guys on profiling will try to get things right, but I'm wondering how they know that.
I thought there was a question as to why he moved her out to Colorado knowing her father had cancer.
That's what I thought. I thought that was too. But even so, your dad's in his late 80s. That's a pretty big jump from Illinois to Colorado. I mean, I don't think they were so wealthy they could fly at a whim back and forth. What is somebody saying there? Yeah, and you know what?
Okay, Andy said he was diagnosed after Suzanne went missing.
Okay, well, but after if he was in remission when she disappeared, the cancer came back after. Well, I bet you that was because of stress. Stress brings down your immune system, and unfortunately can lead to something. He did an interview in profiling. Okay. Yes, for sure. Boy, there's a lot of people here with a lot of degrees, master's degrees, and I think Melinda has a master's. Lulu, master's degree.
Thank you for your service, Lulu.
Yeah, I feel like a dummy now.
Don't feel that way.
But yeah, it's that's good.
Tell them what you're talking about next week.
Next week we are going to get into a couple of things. Actually, we're going to go back to look into Native American disappearances again. They have a saying that how did you say it about?
They have a saying in the in the Native American community that when a person goes missing, they go missing twice. Once in the physical way that they go missing, and second in the media they go missing.
And I want to get Tony back on, especially if he can get his camera fixed. There's a lady that sent me an email. Her daughter is actually one of 6, I think, women that went missing in Ohio. And there was, I think they even made an arrest up there. 4 of the bodies have been found. Her daughter and another one has not been found. But she's just having
like a serial killer scenario.
It sounds like something like that, or either drugs or something. I don't know exactly, but I haven't had a chance to read the file. I gave it to Tony earlier today. I just can't get a grasp on everything about this case. Her mother had possibly had a location that she might have been buried at, but the body has not been found. The police have not been have not been very cooperative. Just a lot of stuff, and we're going to discuss it. If I can get Tony on at the same time, there's a possibility she will come on also, and maybe we can help her in some way.
And I have reached out to several of the Native American organizations that are helping to try to find these young women and men and children that are vanishing. And so I hope to hear back from somebody with the Native American community. And if y'all know anybody, if y'all could reach out to them for us, it would be great.
I see Stormy Grace became a new member.
Welcome, Stormy. Welcome to the member. That really helps us, the channel. It really does. Somebody said something about me up here, but I didn't see what it was.
Don't go back and read it.
Why?
It wasn't nice. I'm kidding.
AK, glad to see you on here, AK. Yes, Melinda, I knew that you were Native American. That is super. I know it's close to your heart too. And it is ours. I can't, I just can't understand why. I mean, if you've seen the shirts, I know you have. It has the Native Americans here when they have guns in their hand and everything. They say fighting terrorism since 1492 or whatever. But they have really been taken advantage of for sure. Well, it is 1 hour and 27 minutes now. We do appreciate everybody being here again tonight. Sorry that Tony could not get his camera working, and I don't believe you got a haircut, Tony. I'm sorry. And prove it.
At least he has hair to get cut, right?
That's true.
Yeah, that's right.
We're not turning loose anyway. It may be turning gray. We're not turning loose.
That's right.
Yeah, who's that? You said, Melinda, you said we just found another young lady deceased. What you want to share that?
I bet it was the one down in Florida. Was it the one in Florida that was pregnant?
Yeah, I actually, Angela, thank you also for the comment. I actually saw where they did find a couple of people deceased. They also had a girl missing, a young Indian girl missing, that I was going to report on tonight.
Yeah.
American Indian that I was going to report on tonight, but she was found safe. So
Which is great.
That is a great thing for sure.
Yeah, that is great.
Yeah. Thank you, Veronica. I appreciate that too.
Okay.
I would like to say something. I'd like to see what everybody would vote here on since we can see the live chat and you've brought up my hair tonight. I think that since we're going to call you Mr. T, the next show you should go ahead and have a mohawk.
No,
blow it around your neck.
No.
Let's see how that works out for you.
No, that's not going to happen.
Tony, I've been telling him I'm going to cut his hair.
No, not unless, I might do it in the future if I get a certain amount of subscribers, but I'd have to.
Hey, we'll shave your head on camera if you hit 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah, there you go.
Not shave it.
Shave it.
No, you could put a mohawk.
No, let's shave it.
No.
Yeah, y'all help us get 10,000. We'll shave his head.
I agree.
AK says we are going Airbnb Barry's house and make a GoFundMe to make a reward for the remains of Suzanne Morphew. Anyone wanting to help fund the rental The rental will read information leading to Suzanne. AK, if you could put it on your community page over there, are you going to? I'm not 100% sure I understand that. We're going Airbnb Barry's house. Oh, so you're going to rent the house? Is that what you're saying? You're going to, is
Barry's house?
Is Barry's house an Airbnb?
I don't know if I would want to stay there.
What is Sarge saying? Need help in those who are qualified medically, etc.
Because they got COVID real bad on the reservations.
Oh, okay.
That's it. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they're going to live stream.
Oh, y'all going to do a live stream from the? So the house is an Airbnb now. The house that the Puma Path house is an Airbnb.
Puma Path, $735 a night.
Wow. And you're going to do a live stream from inside the house to raise money for the reward?
Yes.
Wow. That,
I don't think I'd want to stay there.
Wow.
Sorry, guys.
Wow. That would, that's going to be big time. That's going to be that. Wow. Stormy, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Wow.
The price tag.
That's pretty interesting.
They said that Gonzo said that. Wait a minute. Where did I read that again? It said that 50% of the stuff so far has already been raised.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I imagine you probably won't have any problem getting that for sure.
That they went down with tube crime.
Went where?
Um,
When is this going to be, AK? Can you tell us when that is going to be? Rumor that they will not allow the ones to rent. You have to have a thorough check so anyone can book at a different name. Oh, 2,300 for 2 notes.
2 nights.
2 nights raised. Wow. Very soon. Okay. If you can let us know about that, I'm sure that you'd have some support anyway.
We need to reach out again to the aunt of that young man in Texas.
Yeah, we do.
I was just thinking about him, wondering what's going on in his case.
Everybody, I don't know why my throat's getting to feel like I can't hardly talk for some reason.
Peanut butter.
We got it covered. Just need the dollars donated. When you set up your GoFundMe or whatever, let me know. Okay, well, thank you so much. And thank you for everybody coming. Have a great weekend. Stay safe.
See you
Stay
Tuesday
well.
night.
And we'll see you Tuesday night. And Tony, I'll call you. Maybe we can work out something to get that fixed. Stay healthy.
I think it's something to do with the program itself.
No.
2 different computers not working.
I think it's the operator myself.
Oh,
No.
oh, snap.
He's trying to say there's a short between the seat and the mic.
No, it might be something. Snap. I'm gonna actually try to I don't know. I'll do something. I'll send a report back to StreamYard too and find out and maybe just do something. AK, thank you, everybody. I appreciate that. Really
Hope
do.
everyone has a blessed weekend too. I appreciate being here.
Absolutely. And we will be in touch, Tony. We'll be in touch. Tell your family hello. And everybody, remember to keep my buddy Dennis in your prayers. He's got COVID. He's in Crestwood Hospital in Huntsville, Alabama. And
also keep us in your prayers, because the people that are trying to purchase our store have been surrounded by people with COVID.
yes,
and they've been working with us this week.
I've been kind of nervous about that, but I will be all right. But anyway, we will see everybody on Tuesday, and hope we can get Tony to come back on Wednesday if possible. And thank all the moderators for sure.
Amen.
And we will.
Come on, spit it out.
Yeah,
baby.
Taylor Grigsby on there. I'm happy, and I got to see my dad on here. That's great. Your daughter, I was thinking. So we will see everybody.
Well, she didn't get to see him. She heard him.
She heard him, but we will see everybody. Yeah, I see your message right there, Tuesday. And I'm trying to back out of here. I'm gonna show y'all a couple of pics though while we're sitting here. Tony, I'm gonna take you out of here because I can't see you, and I'll be talking to you later, buddy. Thanks again.
All right.
All right, a couple of pics too. Everybody was saying about things. I doubt it. This is my daughter when we were on the farm up there near our house on the farm. You see there, she's bareback on her horse right there.
Oh, look at that baby.
She was, how old was she there?
She was 4. That was when we had just finished building a house. We hadn't done the yard yet.
Yeah, she was 4. We'd had her since she
Y'all,
do everything on these horses.
Hey, we were such good parents that we let her get underneath the horses and take pictures.
This is one picture she had in one of the farm magazines. She's riding one of her pawpaw's pigs. He had a feather up there in it, on top of the pig. If you can see that, it's a hog actually.
Yeah, it's a
big old hog.
Yeah, we weren't good parents.
Good parents. This is our son here. He's in Nashville now. That's a picture of our son. Got the full beard going on.
Oh, he's so handsome.
Take a look at this. That is a metal spider in the middle of a hayfield thing where they were like a sod farm field. It's all metal spider.
It's huge. I don't like spiders.
I'm talking about maybe 20 feet around. It's really, really something. But we'll have more kind of stuff like that later on. And
you didn't have one of you when we were in high school on that?
I do have them, but they're out there.
They're out there
on the other thing. I'll get them later. I'm gonna put them all on a big roll.
Okay.
Okay.
Y'all have a wonderful weekend. We love y'all.
Good night.